There's something sucking your energy right now, and you don't even realize it. No matter where you are or who you are with, this invisible void is feeding on you, silently. Do you feel tired for no reason? Strange sensations? People who exhaust you just by being around? This is no coincidence. This is energy control, only in reverse. And if you don't learn to master your own energy now, you will continue to be controlled without even knowing by whom. But there is an ancient, forgotten secret that changes everything. And once you know it, nothing will be the same again. You're not tired. They're sucking your energy. Have you ever stopped to think why, even after a good night's sleep, you still feel exhausted? Why, even in moments of silence, something seems to be weighing you down, as if life were heavier than it should be? The tiredness you feel often has nothing to do with your body. It has to do with what you allow to touch you, even without realizing it. There are energetic exchanges happening all the time. In a look, in a memory, in a quick conversation. And when you don't know how to protect yourself, all of this hits you hard. You walk into a room and feel the dense air. You pass someone on the street and suddenly your mood changes. You spend time with certain people and leave feeling like you've carried the weight of a truck on your back. This is real. The energy that circulates between beings is as powerful as it is invisible. What you feel is not just emotional, it's vibrational. And ignoring it is like leaving the door to your house open in the middle of the night, hoping nothing will come in. But it does. And it sucks. And it contaminates. How many times have you kept quiet to avoid conflict? Swallowed pain to keep the peace? Gave in when you knew you needed to set limits? Each of these actions may seem small, but on an invisible level, it is like giving up a part of yourself in silence. You start to lose fragments of yourself. And the most dangerous thing? This becomes normal. You get used to living half-heartedly, to functioning with a low battery as if it were natural. But you weren't born for this. Your energy field was made to expand, not to contract. But without awareness, it becomes distorted. It opens where it should be closed, and it closes where it should be pulsating. The good news? You can learn to reverse this. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to wake up. And awakening starts with one simple step. Realize that you are being affected. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. So look around. Pay attention to who exhausts you, who inspires you, places that drain you or fuel you. Your body is already warning you. Exhaustion is not weakness. It's an alarm. And you're getting this warning for a reason. The question is, what are you going to do with it now? Energy obeys those who know how to command in silence. There is something that few people realize. Energy does not impose itself by shouting. It responds to silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of presence. The kind of silence that carries firmness, clarity, and magnetism. Have you ever been around someone who didn't even need to say anything and yet dominated the entire room? That is not luck. That is energetic command. And the scariest thing, you also have this inside you. You just may have never been taught how to access it. True control is not in what you say, but in what you feel internally. People who know how to manipulate energy do not explain themselves, do not beg for affection. They understand that everything they need is already pulsating within them. And it is precisely this silent trust that reorganizes everything around them. When you stop reacting to what pulls you and start responding with awareness, everything changes. The vibration changes, the frequency changes, and people feel it, even without understanding how. This is the secret that the world has tried to bury. Because a person who masters their own energy becomes free. They no longer need to prove anything, chase after anything, justify themselves. And the system doesn't want free people. It wants people who are tired, emotionally messed up, disconnected from their own power. But you can choose to escape this. You can start now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and remember that everything around you obeys the way you vibrate. But here comes the detail that no one tells you. Energy also obeys the chaos you carry. If you are vibrating fear, insecurity, lack, that is what will amplify. It doesn't matter how much you wish for something different. The universe listens to what you emanate, not what you say. And that requires courage. Courage to look within, to silence the external noise and listen to what has been screaming inside you for years. So ask yourself, who is in charge now, your thoughts, your wounds, or your consciousness? The more you feed your inner field with intention and clarity, the more the world around you rearranges itself to reflect that. Chaos fades, the wrong people walk away, the right opportunities arise, and it all starts when you decide to take back control, the forgotten memory that still lives in your body. You don't need to learn how to manipulate energy from scratch, because in fact, you are just remembering. There is a silent memory inside your body, ancient, deep, alive. Each cell carries an ancient code, a knowledge that was not taught through words but through existence. Your ancestors already knew how to feel the field around them, how to transform an environment with just their presence, how to ward off what was harmful with just their intention. This is not a legend, it is vibrational inheritance. The problem is that modernity has taught you to disbelieve in the invisible. They put headphones in your ears, screens in front of your eyes, distractions in your mind. And the further you have moved away from the inner silence, the more you have lost access to your own wisdom. But it has never disappeared. It has just been muffled, dormant, waiting for you to stop for a second and listen again. And that is what is happening now. You are not discovering it, you are awakening. You know that feeling of déjà vu? That intuition you can't explain, the sudden urge to distance yourself from someone, or to change the course of your life for no logical reason? That's your energy moving before your mind even understands. And ignoring these signals is like turning off your soul's GPS. Your body feels it first. It warns you. It reacts. And when you learn to listen with presence, your energy begins to obey your commands, not the fears of others. So come back to yourself. Bring awareness to the little things, your breath, your thoughts, what comes and goes in your life every day. Every choice you make feeds a field. Every word you say is a vibrational seed. And the harvest comes, sooner or later. When you take back power over your own frequency, everything around you bends. Not by magic, but by energetic coherence. You align, and the world responds. That old memory is knocking at the door, and it just needs you to say, I am ready. Ready to return to your origin. Ready to become what you have always been. An energetic, conscious being with the power to transform any reality around him. But this requires a decision. And the question that remains is, are you willing to remember? How to protect your field silently and impact everything around it. Few things are as powerful as your energy in its purest form. And the world out there is full of noise, distractions, and people who will try to touch that field. Not always with good intentions. Therefore, protecting your energy is not about isolating yourself, but about learning to choose what goes in and what stays. You have this power. But if you don't use it, it turns against you. Your field becomes vulnerable. You start absorbing what is not yours. True energetic protection begins with silence, by not responding to everything, by not exposing yourself to anything, by not being where your soul is already begging to get out. You feel when something is unbalancing you, but you don't always respect this signal. The good news is that, from now on, you will start to feel and obey. You will stop emotionally abusing yourself for fear of displeasing others. You will realize that saying no is many times the greatest yes you can give yourself. You don't need to explain your choices to those who don't feel what you feel. You don't need to justify your distancing. Those who vibrate at a different frequency will be bothered by your awakening. And that's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be whole. And your wholeness in itself is already a shield. When your energy is clean, firm, silent, and Present? Interferences dissolve. Provocations don't get through to you. Attacks get lost along the way. Start with small rituals. Waking up and giving thanks. Becoming aware of how you feel when you enter a place. Breathing deeply before reacting. Bathing with intention, sleeping with a clean heart. All of these things strengthen your field. All of these things put you back in the center. And a person who lives in the center of themselves is not bent by any wind. They remain. They radiate. They affect everything, even without saying a word. You don't have to fight the world. Just tend your field. Just remind yourself every day that your energy is not here to please. It's here to guide. And the more you protect it, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger you become, because ultimately protecting your energy was protecting your very essence. The turning point. When you stop chasing and start attracting, there is a moment, silent, subtle, almost invisible, when something inside you changes. You stop chasing things, people, validations, and you start attract. It's as if the universe finally understands that you've taken your place, that you're now at the center and no longer on the periphery of yourself. This moment is a turning point, and it doesn't happen outside. It happens the moment you realize that you no longer have to prove anything to be worthy of everything. For a long time, you have been taught to seek, to persuade, to mold yourself, to ask, and all of this creates a frequency of scarcity, of excessive effort, of self-abandonment. When you align with your true energy, you notice that effort becomes flow, that what you were trying to force begins to happen naturally. People who previously ignored you now notice you. Situations that were previously blocked now become unlocked. Because something changed inside, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And when you become presence, clarity, and truth, everything that is vibrating at that same frequency is pulled in like a magnet. It's not magic, it's attunement. The energy starts to flow differently and everything that was stuck starts to align. You stop begging for doors, and the doors start to open on their own. Because your energy has become the key. But it is important to remember, this turning point does not come to those who still expect approval from others. It comes to those who have already understood that the greatest approval that exists is their own. That the whole world may doubt you. But if you believe in yourself with strength, consistency, and truth, the world bows. Not because you shouted, but because you vibrated. You emanated something that cannot be ignored. And the invisible always responds. This is the secret that many spend their lives trying to find outside. But the answer was never there. It was always in their field, in their silence, in their gaze, in their decision to stop running after it and finally become what you wish to attract. The hidden touch, how the invisible shapes the visible. Everything you experience in the external world is a reflection of something that is already happening on the invisible plane. Your thoughts, emotions, intentions, all of this builds structures that you cannot see but feel, and sooner or later these structures materialize. An encounter, an opportunity, a breakthrough, a miracle. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is shaped in the field before it manifests, in matter. And the more you understand this, the more aware you become of what you are creating. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to get lucky all the time? As if the universe easily opens paths for them? That's not luck. That's organized vibration. It's clean, sharp, directed energy. It's someone who, even without knowing how to explain it, is shaping the invisible in their favor every day. With presence, with feeling, with intention. And you can do the same. Because this power doesn't belong to a few. It belongs to those who choose to remember. But there is an important detail. The invisible is not neutral. It responds to what you constantly emit. And if you are stuck in emotional repetitions, cycles of scarcity, sabotaging thoughts, this also molds itself. This also takes shape. That is why observing your frequency is more important than any external planning. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if you are vibrating fear, the invisible will work against you. The hidden touch is silent but relentless. It does not forgive inconsistency. It reveals everything. And the most beautiful thing? When you start to reorganize your energy, the world begins to look different. More vivid colors, lighter people, clearer paths. Not because the world has changed, but because you changed what was shaping the world. You became a source. You became a creator. So look around you. Everything that is in your life today is a reflection of what you allowed to vibrate yesterday. And what you begin to vibrate now will be the basis of what will emerge tomorrow. The hidden touch is in motion, and it is waiting for you to say, with your soul, I'm ready to create differently. The frequency of your gaze transforms what is seen. There is something magical in the human gaze that no one has told you in depth. You don't just see the world, you shape the world by the way you look at it. Everything you direct your attention to begins to vibrate differently. You can destroy something with your gaze, or heal it completely. You can create chaos, or reorganize frequencies. And this does not depend on words or physical actions. It depends on consciousness. You know that feeling of being watched and feeling a chill, even though no one has touched you. This is proof that the gaze carries intention. It carries a field. And every time you fix your attention on something or someone with emotion, you send energy to that thing. If it is energy of fear, scarcity, or distrust, it becomes sick. If it is energy of love, trust, and presence, it flourishes. That is why the world responds more to your gaze than to your mouth. And here is the secret that few access. The way you look at yourself is shaping who you are. If you look at yourself with constant self-criticism, insecurity, and judgment, you are creating a version of yourself that vibrates scarcity. But if you start looking at yourself with kindness, courage, and respect, even if it is still under construction, the energy changes. Your internal image aligns, and the world begins to see you the way you have come to see yourself. Do you want to change something in your life? Change the way you look at it. Stop focusing on what's missing, and start focusing on what can flourish. By doing this, you activate frequencies that were dormant. You invite the invisible to act. And silently, what once seemed impossible begins to reorganize itself. Not because the world favored you, but because you looked at him with new eyes. And that changes everything. So the question remains, where are you looking today? Because that is exactly what you are feeding with your energy. And what you feed grows. Your gaze is your most powerful spell. Use it with intention. The secret of the wise: less noise, more power. While the world screams, the wise withdraw. They sow. Do not engage in empty arguments. They do not over-explain. They do not try to prove their worth. They know that true power lies not in the volume of the voice, but in the vibration of silence. And it is in silence that energy is organized. That consciousness expands. That the invisible aligns with what you feel. The more noise you make, the more disconnected you are from your essence. The more stillness, the more mastery. Noise is always a symptom of instability. It is the ego trying to assert itself. It is insecurity demanding a stage. But true strength is discreet. It is like the roots of a tree, invisible but firm, deep, indestructible. Those who have learned to nourish themselves in silence do not need to defend themselves all the time, because their energy already does that for them. It is what drives away what is not useful. It protects. It attracts. The great masters of energy have always known this. When everything seems to be falling apart, they don't run, they retreat. When everything seems to be in disarray, they don't comment, they observe. Because they know that the more you align yourself on the inside, the less you have to do on the outside. The energy does the work. The field speaks for you. And the answers come not because you shouted, but because you were vibrating with clarity. If you feel like you're being sucked in, attacked, underestimated, maybe it's time to shut up for a moment. Not to hide, but to strengthen your field. To reorganize your power. To listen to yourself. Because in silence, everything that was blurry starts to become clear. What was doubt becomes direction. What was pain becomes strength. What was chaos becomes learning. And you return, much stronger than it came out. So don't be afraid to retreat. Don't think that silence is weakness. The world may feed on noise, but the universe responds to the silent vibration of those who have already understood who they are. And that is the true secret of the wise. The activation of the central point, where everything starts to respond. There is a point within you where all the answers lie, an inner place that does not depend on external logic, advice, or proof. When this point is activated, the world begins to respond in a completely different way. You stop being someone who lives at the mercy of circumstances and become the center of them. Nothing can take you off balance anymore, because the center is now inside, not outside. This point is not physical. It is vibrational. It is a silent sensation of clarity, of peace, of certainty, without needing to explain anything. You simply know. You feel it. And when you align with it, everything starts to fall into place. People appear, opportunities reveal themselves, decisions become obvious, because your energy starts to emit a frequency of command and not doubt. And the universe only understands one language, that of vibrational coherence. To activate this point, nothing external is needed, just presence, breathing, silence, a commitment to yourself. You can do this right now, right where you are. Close your eyes. Feel your breath. Let the thoughts pass by like clouds. Bring your attention to the now, to the center of your chest, to the space where there is no fear, no lack, only presence, only energy in its purest form. And there, everything begins. This is where you stop reacting. You start observing. You stop exhausting yourself trying to change others, and you start transforming yourself from within. The center is where you stop searching and start being, where you stop chasing and start attracting. And when this happens, your field expands in such a subtle and intense way that everything around you needs to reorganize itself, not by imposition, but by vibration. You don't need to control the world. You just need to align yourself with this point within you. Because when the center is firm, the chaos outside doesn't unsettle you. Energy obeys. Situations shape themselves, and the invisible recognizes you as someone who has returned to the place from which he should never have left, the command of one's own frequency. Why some people have natural energetic power, and how to awaken yours. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and completely change the atmosphere without even saying a word, as if they carry an invisible presence that commands respect, attention, or even healing? They don't make an effort. They don't try to get attention. They are. And that is the true energetic power, when presence speaks louder than any speech. These people weren't born with something you don't have. They just remembered it earlier. They tend their own field like they would a sacred temple. They choose where they are, who they connect with, what they feed emotionally, and that makes them rare, powerful. Not because they do a lot, but because preserve their own vibration. And you can do it too. Power is not exclusive, it only requires awareness. Awakening this power is a process of daily choice. Choosing not to react to what provokes you. Choosing to be silent when your ego wants to scream. Choosing to move away from environments that make your soul sick. And most importantly, choosing feel before deciding. Energetically powerful people are not perfect. They are aligned. They know where the center is and return to it whenever they get lost. They are not afraid of silence, because it is in silence that the field grows stronger. The secret is this: you become magnetic when you stop being noise and become frequency, when you stop explaining yourself and start vibrating with clarity, and the whole world feels it. People respect you without understanding why. Situations improve without you having to insist, because your energy is already doing the work. You don't manipulate others, you align yourself, and everything responds. So stop comparing yourself to those who have already awakened, and start remembering who you are. What you feel is not madness, it is raw power. And that power is asking for a chance to be used truthfully, with love, with intention, because the world needs people who are mastering their own frequency. And maybe you are one of them. When you change your vibration, you change your story. Have you ever realized that your entire life may be shaped by a vibration that you no longer perceive? Many people live repeated stories, the same pains, the same cycles, the same frustrations, and think it's bad luck, karma, destiny. But it's not. It's vibration. Your energy is constantly telling a story to the universe, and the universe is just responding with absolute fidelity. When you vibrate fear, scarcity, or lack, the universe understands that's what it's feeding you. And it gives you situations that confirm this vibration, not because it wants to punish you, but because this is his language. It does not respond to your conscious desires. It responds to what your frequency emanates in the silence. That is why sometimes you want something so much, but it does not come, because wanting it alone is not enough. The vibration needs to support what you say you want. The big turning point happens when you realize that you can change this story, that you are not a hostage to the vibration you carried until yesterday. From the moment you start to clean, elevate, and direct your energy, the plot changes, the opportunities change, the connections change, the signs change, because the story you tell vibrationally has changed. And the universe, as always, responds precisely. Changing your vibration is not about thinking positively all the time. It's about being honest with what you feel, embracing what hurts, and transforming it into power. It's about clearing resentments, ending cycles with truth, and taking responsibility for what you're emanating. There's no point in asking for peace and vibrating resentment. There's no point in wanting love and vibrating insecurity. The frequency needs to be coherent. And coherence starts from within. Your life changes when your vibration changes. It may seem too simple, and it is. Simple, yet profound. The key has never been outside. It has never been in others. It has always been there, in the way you choose to align yourself with what you want to experience. And now that you know this, the story has already started to change. The invisible ritual that transforms your field every day. You don't need candles, stones, or complicated mantras to change your energy. All of these can help, of course. But the real ritual happens every day in the invisible, in the details you tend to ignore. The way you wake up, the first thing you think, the way you respond to challenges, what you silently feed. All of this is shaping your energy field. And the most powerful of all these rituals is intention. When you start your day in presence, even for 2 minutes, taking a deep breath, giving thanks, choosing to vibrate differently, that already changes the course. You set the universe in motion. You send a clear message. Today, I choose to command my energy, and the invisible understands. It hears your intention, because true intention doesn't need words, it needs vibrational truth. During the day, your ritual continues. It is in the way you defend yourself from what attacks you without contaminating yourself, in the choice to remain silent when your ego wants to respond, in the courage to leave environments that drain you, in the respect for yourself. Each of these gestures cleans your field, reorganizes it, strengthens it. And the most beautiful thing? People feel it. They can't explain it, but they feel it. They feel your lightness, your firmness, your peace, because you are becoming a healing presence. At night, before going to sleep, the ritual is completed. Instead of carrying your sorrows to your pillow, you release them. You clean them, you surrender them, because you understand that what you feel before going to sleep vibrates for hours in your field. So you transform the last energy of the day into something elevated, even if silent. And what happens? Your field wakes up cleaner, more prepared, more magnetic. This is applied spirituality. This is energy in action. You already have everything you need to make this invisible ritual happen. It doesn't depend on anyone. It doesn't cost anything. It only requires awareness, and believe me, when you live like this day after day, your field becomes so strong, so clean, so magnetizing, that life begins to respond with a synchronicity that seems like a miracle. But it's No, it's just you, vibrating differently. When you become living energy, everything around you bends. There comes a time when you no longer need proof, formulas, or permission. You simply feel. Something inside you lights up, and from that moment on, everything changes. You stop looking for miracles outside because you realize that the miracle is you. You no longer depend on techniques or approvals because now, what commands is your vibration. And when your energy becomes alive, conscious, and directed, the world bows. Not out of submission, but out of recognition. It is impossible to ignore someone who truly vibrates, someone who does not pretend to be well, but who transforms their pain into healing, who does not need to shout to be heard because their presence says it all, who does not try to convince anyone because they have already convinced themselves inside. This person becomes light in the midst of chaos, and wherever they go, something changes. A look, a breath, a gesture. Everything carries a subtle but profound impact because she became a channel of her own essence. You can be that person. Maybe you are already becoming one. With every choice, with every silence, with every time you refuse to be contaminated by what comes from outside and return to your center, you activate that power. It's not about dominating others. It's about dominating your frequency. And that is so rare, so valuable, that the whole world starts to treat you differently. Doors open, people transform, situations unfold. All because your energy turned into command. But this is not achieved with effort. It is achieved with presence, with self-accountability, with truth, with love, and with the courage to be who you are, even when it makes you uncomfortable, even when people reject you, even when they try to disconnect you, because your connection to your own energy is the source. And as long as it is intact, you will never be alone. The invisible will guide you. The universe will answer you. So remember, you are not here to be small. You are here to be a field, to be light, to be a silent and powerful transformation. When you become living energy, the whole world needs to reorganize around you, and nothing can stop you anymore because you have become immensity. If this content touched you in any way, it's because it found an awakened energy within you, something that was perhaps dormant, forgotten, muffled by the noise of the world. But now, it's no longer there. Now he knows. You know the power has always been there. In the silence, in the choice, in the vibration. And once you see it, there's no going back. You feel it, you activate it, you expand it. And your energy starts speaking for you, before any words are even spoken. The question is, are you going to continue to ignore what's vibrating inside you? Or are you going to use it to create the reality you've always felt you deserved? If you felt this calling, comment below. I choose to command my energy. Let's form a chain of consciousness, an invisible network of awakened people who are taking their own power. And if this video brought you clarity, like, share with anyone who needs this, and subscribe on the channel to continue receiving content that elevates, awakens, and transforms. Because now, you are the one who controls the energy, and it's all just beginning.